Recording in progress.
All right, let's call to order the Lower Stafford Township Board of Supervisors work session of October 3, 2023, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, indivisible, Thank you. All right, first order of business. Mr. Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just an update on the projects, the street light upgrade program. Finally have access to the lighting management system. Apparently there are still some issues with error messages and connectivity and things like that the consultant's working through. This is the dashboard. See to the right, there's a map of the township. All the yellow dots are connected fixtures. The red dots are ones where there are faults. You see up at the top there were 12 fixtures that were not connected, 212, I believe, ones that are connected. And if you scroll down to the bottom, Mike, you can see what the fault is. Click on the streetlights tab up there, Mike. There you go. It says it's not communicating. And there are some others that ones it's designed in, there's a tilt sensor in them. So if they get hit or knocked down, it'll notify us. Phil Landis and I are users on the system, and we get emails every day of the faults. So it's a very proactive system that lets us know what's going on out there. We can check what's happening through the dashboard. So at this point, we need to just go through and verify that all the fixtures that are shown or what's out there in the field, and what's in the field is shown on the dashboard. So we're working on that at this point.
Is that, I know it's not interactive that way, but is that layer of data also available to go into our GIS system?
It's integrated.
Okay.
How,
Okay,
to what extent?
just so you don't have to go back and forth between two programs, right?
But you're told that it's integrated, it can be integrated into GIS system.
If we had any, since the upgrade, I know we went through great efforts to talk about which bulbs or which colors we were going with for different streets. Any comments from anybody that we, are shining into their bedroom now?
The only comments. Right there at the residential property on the corner.
Okay.
There's a concern, so we're looking at seeing what kind of shielding can be installed to mitigate that issue.
Good. Well, that's not bad. With all the lights that we upgraded, it was like one. That's, we did pretty good thinking that through. That you did a great job.
Seems to be working out. We just gotta tweak it and get it to the point where it's completely functional and 100% usable.
Good.
Moving on, Alderford Road, Park Avenue Basins, contractors completed their punch list. We were able to connect with Montgomery County Conservation District and through their Native Meadows program. We're actually going to be borrowing their no-till drill to do the seeding. And also Andrew Frankenfield is going to be, he's working with us as far as setting up the drill, doing any prep work, but today we're spraying everything to kill all the invasive weeds. Opinion, that's of course an issue. We don't have the competing issues with what we're trying to grow. So we've got all the seed, we're ready to go. Plan is for Thursday to seed that entire project. So I think that was like a $50,000 option that we eliminated from the project, and we probably have $3,000 in seed and some of our time. So it was well worth it for us to tackle that aspect of the project.
Did Andrew bring the no-till drill over for you, or do you have to go pick it up?
We have to pick it up somewhere. We're
Yeah.
not sure exactly where. I'm working with
I think
the
it's in his barn,
conservation
isn't it?
staff.
I think it may be in his barn
I don't know.
over on Allentown Road.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out exactly where it is so we can get it. But he's offered to come over and he actually went and looked at the site and provided some recommendations on what we should be doing and, you know, helping us guide us through the process. We're also introducing some wildflower mix into, the recommended seed mix, so that, you know, do a little bit of beautification while we're there. And the benefit of this versus just having it as grasses is that, you know, the maintenance is only gonna be once a year. So you mow it at the very early spring, late winter, and then it's a one and done instead of twice a year maintenance. So this is something we've been trying to kind of tackle and look at other locations. So we're gonna try to expand this to other meadows that we have that would be appropriate for this type of seed mixture.
Conservation district is dying, I think, to use it.
And we have a boatload of meadows that you could use it on. Excuse me.
That's great.
That's where we are with that. Golf course clock was installed yesterday. So moving forward, Stuart is
Are we
going
having any level of ceremonial?
Well, I was waiting to speak with Stu. They're putting pavers down around it, the clock, and they need to install the plaque itself. And I figured once we had a date for that being completed, to reach out to you guys.
Is Doug aware that this clock is in?
I mean, he's probably aware that it's on.
Yeah, he gave his blessing on the location.
Okay.
So I mean, you just talk to Doug. Date about it.
Yeah, hopefully by the end of the week, that work will be done. So I'll be ready for whatever presentation or ceremony decides to happen. Public Works and Community Center facility planning. Been revising concepts for the community center and a little bit on the public works side. CKS has developed a preliminary engineering plan for public works. And then they're going to transition into the community center so that do a plan for that property as well, so that Boyle can then provide cost estimates. At this point, we're most likely looking at the December supervisors work session, the first work session for Boyle to do their presentation of the concepts and the costs. Reed Park Court resurfacing. Mike, can you pull up that picture? I'm sure you saw this with the contact email. But that's
Great.
yeah, it looks fantastic. It really does. I mean, that's something that I told my guys.
And compared to what it looked like too before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great job.
Great shot from our park cameras as well.
So, have the pickleball courts been getting used yet?
I was actually looking at this shot the other day, and there were 2 people out there playing.
Perfect. You know, we talk about, you know, the value of our time and it's not free, but when you look at projects like this, what it would have cost us, we probably save $30,000 in labor, having a contractor do it. And we've got maybe $15,000 in materials. You know, and week's worth of work, kind of, you know, so these are the kind of projects that I really like to get my guys involved in, because I think that it gives them a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment for, you can actually see what you're doing rather than replacing a pipe, then it's burned, and then, you know, nobody knows, nobody sees. This is the kind of stuff that everybody sees and, you know, recognizes that, you know, it's a good thing.
Very nice.
Thank you. Just update on some traffic signals, the 63-113 upgrade. The draft contract specs are under review with PennDOT and staff. If you recall, the board advertised or authorized advertisement of the contract September meeting for the bid opening of October 27th. So that will be moving to construction next year. Route 113 in Maple and Paterno, we have a application into the county as part of their CTP grant program. Waiting to hear the results on that. Had a meeting with PennDOT 2 weeks ago. PennDOT would like us to consider a roundabout at that location. And then any traffic.
We did receive a follow-up email for that. I don't know, maybe you were sick that day or out that day. They did say the elevation probably wasn't correct
Yeah, that, I was
for
thinking
that,
that,
because you have that,
Topography doesn't work.
right?
It just doesn't. we would have to reconstruct three of the four approaches hundreds of feet back from the intersection just to make the alignment work.
Especially that main approach comes up that hill.
You can see they talked about this before, traffic study from engineers as to whether it was warranted. And there was something specifically about the roundabout, but I know CKS did have some, asterisks on there explaining how like 8 points of contact as opposed to 30. It's a read the whole thing there, but I remember it saying they did say it was a good spot for it, but they had some concerns.
Yeah, the elevation is because you're coming up so high from Maple Avenue, when you come around that corner, then you have the corner and then you have the elevation up. It really makes it difficult to get the geography to work for the roundabout without a lot of extra engineering. I mean, it would be
Part of our argument.
triple the cost of probably putting in a,
There is literally zero roadway construction involved with the traffic signal project. All the lanes are there.
It was designed for traffic, so
Yeah, well, everything there, it would just be, flopping math arms and you running conduit and connecting a trail. To do a roundabout would basically make us go back through the whole design and evaluation process. When we've already spent that time and effort, for the traffic signal, and it meets warrants.
was PennDOT just throwing that out there, or were they just trying to see more?
it seems that they are trying to look at more intersections that can possibly have roundabouts. I think they feel that, as far as traffic flow and, forward maintenance costs, that,
Yeah,
And
I'm not against the whole idea. I would have to see, obviously,
Right.
the dynamics of it.
and so they wanted to see that maybe if this was a possible candidate
I
for.
do feel it. I know we talked about it, but again, that intersection, I think waiting for a minute, all times a day. I go through it 2 or 3 times. Again, I'll share you guys the lists I received that you can check out, but.
And I'm wondering if it's, kind of in the background, PennDOT's talked about for years, taking over traffic signals on some of the major corridors. So is this something that might be driving that, and, with that coming down the line, one less signal for them to maintain if it is around it.
And
So
the cost saves, but.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the council pursues PennDOT funding, they're going to ask us to evaluate. If we get the county funding, then move forward. Just an update on some grants. Joe, Stephanie and I discussed some opportunities and projects. On your agenda for tomorrow night is the resolution for the local share agreement grant program. And that we're looking at doing the ADA ramp upgrades at, I believe it's 15 or 16 different locations. In and around the community center, everything leading to that. So that's one of the items. The Mako 2040 program is coming up. We talked about Oak Drive and Main Street. That right turn lane is widening that, and also installing sidewalk from Main Street to Moyer Road as part of that project as a grant application. And the other thing that's coming sometime next year is the Green Light Go grant program again. We were successful with the 63 and 113 upgrade, so we're looking at what would be our next signalized intersection to upgrade. So we're trying to take a little bit of a systematic approach to some of these older intersections to see if we can upgrade the mass stars and the hardware. And their hardware is pretty good now with everything that we've done or will be, but it's more the physical structures. So just an item that we stumbled across, and this was when we were looking at the grants manager and bringing the GMS funding solution on. Excuse me. Their research, they were able to find that in the capital budget line item authorizations, that the township has a specific line item for $2.1 million for a public works facility in Culture. It's already been allocated.
I reached out, I don't know that that maybe they don't even know this happened. I did reach out to Tracy's office. Earlier this year, she had asked for a list of projects. Could have been late last year, I'm not sure, but that was the number. Because I think it was originally for the, what we were looking at, possibly purchasing the
Oh, yeah.
property off of, on Christopher Lane.
So how long does that authorization stay in the budget?
Yeah, so that's a lot, we're doing some follow-up on that.
Yeah, it's. The information I got, it was for the acquisition, construction, infrastructure, redevelopment, renovation. And other related costs for a new public works complex with a detached salt storage building.
Just need to find the storage.
Yeah.
Maybe we can just get it rolled over and look for, we have the opportunity to pull the trigger. Just an item of information. The other thing on your agenda for tomorrow night is authorization to sell our 1999 Mack dump truck. Which we acquired our new tandem axle dump truck. That truck is now available. And just some update on some department activities, working on inlet repairs, placed all the chains and hardware for all the swings in the playgrounds. And also performed safety inspections. Finishing staining of the barn doors at Rife. Due to the holiday next month, school closure. We're going to be closing Landis Road from Mars to Moyer to replace the storm pipe crossing. It's right there. There's an inlet right at the driveway at Heckler Plains that discharges out into the meadow there. So we're going to be tackling that. It's corrugated metal, and that road is planned for a Nova chip for next year. We took delivery of our new compact track loader last week. Don't have any of the paperwork yet on that. I'll wait for that. And I will not be at the mid-month work session this month, but be at a conference. Go Phils.
I have a quick question, Doug.
Yes.
Whose responsibility and who is going to be, and what is the protocol for maintaining the rain garden at the community center before the weeds try to take over?
I believe that the Conservancy does that as part of their ongoing program, at least for the first few years.
Okay.
Make sure things get established, and again, talking about competing invasive weeds and things of that nature.
Right.
Yeah. They're pretty diligent about it. I'm staff volunteers go in and take care of that.
Cool.
And I'm also working on order signs for those, that, and also for the rain garden there.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Are we able to put any kind of landscape rock along the parking lot? My fear is in the spring, my friends at the baseball field there are gonna drive through our rain garden and.
Yeah, we talked about, I think, the last
Okay.
meeting that somebody's already put tracks through it, and yeah, so, yeah, we can look at doing.
As
something.
rocks become available.
Or, I mean, the other thing, you just, if we have any or you get some, just parking bumper, concrete parking bumpers along that side of the stone driveway.
Something.
So
Some kind
Trash
of
came from the other side though.
Yeah, that's true, yeah,
Yeah.
but
But maybe.
I see the parking lot side, I'm looking at boulders, but maybe on the road side. Signs help, I mean, the. Signpost and too.
We'll figure out something.
Sounds good.
Maybe
Thanks.
before
You
you
let
donate
park
a
there.
couple of big rocks.
That's what I'm thinking. We got them around here.
If I come across any, I can bring them up.
Deposit them. Anything else for Doug? All right, Chief Medwood.
Yes, sir. Just a brief update on our hiring process. Deadline for applications was last week. This Friday, be interviewing 7. We received 28 applications, which is extremely low for us. So, 7 that stood out. We will be interviewing Friday, and then it only is Monday, we'll be doing backgrounds of those that look forward. No reason to believe we would not have somebody by January. Assuming that they show up on Friday. So, I mean, right now, everybody's hiring. See the impact, but it's across the board.
Yeah, that's pretty much everywhere, right then.
Yeah, everybody's reporting low numbers. Well, fun. That's
Very
all I
good.
have.
Well, good luck on Friday. Hopefully we get a good candidate or two.
Fortunately, we have a good reputation with, thank you.
All right. Mr. Buki.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we had 62 permits issued last month. We have a few items on your agenda for our evening. One of which is the pre-planning trail location plan with the plan commission. Past month, received a recommendation for enforcement. So it'll be on your agenda tomorrow night. Another one is ordinance amendment for the impervious surface and structures that we spoke about. Also received a recommendation by the thing. And then 45 Main Road, that's the digital deal. Again, it's on the agenda for the planning commission last month, see recommendation, so it's on your agenda for the, and authorized for advertising. In the month of October for the planning commission, looking at the end of the month, should be seeing 196 Main Street division use. That has potential, so it's tentative stuff. And Clements Mill, which is a previous land development in the township from early 2000, 2006 or 7 up the lead, hasn't made it through the planning commission yet. And now it's resubmitted years later, so we should see that. That's the plan.
Short list today. All right, very good. Mr. Jakowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item is the review of the minutes for the September 6th meeting. If you have any questions, comments, corrections? Agenda for tomorrow evening. Unfinished business, Maple Avenue Trail location plan. Under new business, ordinance number 2304. Ordinance amendment, impervious surface and non-conforming structures, authorization to advertise. 45 Mainland Road, conditional use, authorization to advertise. Resolution 2329. A resolution authorizing the submission of a statewide local share account grant for ADA curb ramp upgrades throughout the township. Authorization to sell the 1999 Mack Tandem Axle dump truck. And motion to accept the Montgomery County Planning Commission Planning Assistance Contract renewal for 2024, 25, and 26. Now, the next item on the manager's report is the first draft of minor funds for 2024 budget. As most of you recall, most of these are pass-through type budgets with some notes that should be brought forth. Liquid fuels funds. The budget for liquid fuels expenditures next year is about $650,000, and this will include base repairs, Nova chip, and a Cape Seal process for the 2024 road program. I don't believe Doug has the final list for locations at this point. I know the courses, the last portion of the golf course community is in there, but I don't locate. I don't know if you have any update on that. Fire protection fund. That will be basically the major expense out of here will be for $198,000 to go directly to the fire company. And that's a slight increase from last year's budget of $196,800. That number, in all honesty, will probably be a little higher than that. Our revenues are tracking more positive, but we try to be conservative in our estimates so that we don't end up on the other side of the equation.
Have you reached out to them at all yet, just to see if there's any need for a bump in that, just for discussion purposes or anything?
I have not. I can't.
If you don't mind,
yeah, no problem. Library fund, again, this is pass-through fund. Again, with the increases we're seeing in our real estate tax revenues, this major expense out of here is the donation to the library. And we're looking at about approximately $370,000 donation, no, not donation, but pass through to the library versus $360,000 budgeted this year. So I get a slight bump. Park board fund. A number of items in here. Major ones are the temporary employee wages for the summer help that does a lot of the mowing and trash pickup and that kind of thing. I know we do have a lot of maintenance or repair items. I don't know if you know specifically, Doug, what you're looking at coming out of there for park board. We have a separate line item for tree, the 20,000.
So, one of the items, fence for Rolf Park, place the existing posting rails, so that it's got a longer lifespan and more durable. Can't think of the rest of them off the top of my head.
No problem. Again, and then we have 20,000 for tree maintenance and 8,500 for pond maintenance. Hopefully this next year we'll get ahead of some of the algae growth that we've seen in the ponds the last couple of years. Ambulance fund, we'll be having some discussions with the ambulance later on this. Again, this is a pass-through fund. $355,000 was estimated as revenue last year. We're looking at a bump to about $363,500. As you recall, last year the board had given an advance on their funding to the ambulance at the end of the year, so that when you see that $47,500, that's that basically paying back the general fund for that advance. The donation to the ambulance is budgeted at $355,000 for 2024. But again, I'm sure discussions about both the revenue and the expense side of that budget. Capital reserve, and there will be some changes to this as we move forward, but major items in the capital reserve are some additional base repairs for some of the roads that aren't covered under the liquid fuels to the tune of about $100,000. Various culvert repairs at $25,000. Pipe replacements throughout the township, and that's another $25,000. We do have the school flashers. That's certainly dependent upon receiving the grant at this point, but we do have that budgeted as a $35,000 expense. The Booker Park hockey rink resurfacing at $30,000, as you saw with Reed Park, that would be a similar situation. The basketball courts at Booker were done this year, and they also look very good. And Doug has the parking lot for Alderfer Park resurfacing at $50,000 in here, and a trail repaving at $30,000. Additionally, in there for under the revenue side, you'll notice a fairly healthy miscellaneous grant numbers, and those are based on what we know we have at this point, including the adaptive traffic signal upgrade at Green Light Go, the Route 63 and 113 upgrade, because that will all happen in 2024 as opposed to 23, and those are all reimbursement grants. So
That's the intergovernmental revenue line item you have there?
yes,
Yeah, I'm sorry. You said miscellaneous grant.
yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The wrong line.
Good.
And then the Main Street to Ruth Road Sidewalk Project, CASA grant is in there. And then some of the changes we may see, as Doug mentioned, was the Maple 113 and Paterno signal, which I believe the county is meeting later on this month. So we'll find out if that's going to be added to the budget, as well as the Yoder Road Sidewalk project I can't remember the acronym for that one, but that's the installation of the sidewalk between Vernal and Culp.
Just one or two questions. I know we annually have always contributed, or at least last couple of years, transferring to capital fund 75,000 from the park board fund. Obviously, it goes to some park projects, but you know, we're also, the parks have gotten greater, and there's things like trail maintenance and things along that line that our trails are getting a little more worn, and does it make more sense to put more money into some of those projects and not, I mean, we have a healthy enough reserve in our capital reserve fund to not necessarily need that level of transfer from the park fund, and, you know, stay ahead of some of the maintenance activities that we're looking at. Does that make sense to you, Doug? Yeah, I mean, the trails are starting to, you know, we have certain areas with wide tracks, and they're no longer maintenance issues that can be ignored.
Can be considered capital,
Right.
it's paid for. On the park board funds.
Right, and that's where I didn't know what's the right way to fund that, but you do have a line item for bike trail rebuilding things in the regular park board fund, so I would just ask you to look at that. I think we're healthy enough that we don't need to be transferring it back and forth if we can just expend it where it's needed.
We don't have the trail maintenance in the budget this year.
Right.
So I mean, the 75,000 is going into the capital, unless you just want to leave the 75 in the park fund for other maintenance items.
Right.
But the trail maintenance and paving is all coming out of the capital right now.
Okay, so that's fine, as long as we're using it toward, I mean, it strikes me as we have needs for repairs in the parks that we don't necessarily need to take it from capital, to put it over into capital, if we can use it in the park fund. So if that's just your accounting way of dealing with it, however you want to deal with it.
Well, I mean, that's the way we've done it.
Right.
I don't want to say that's necessarily mine. It can be done either way. I think the argument for maintenance, trail maintenance, could be that it's a capital item. It should certainly last more than 5 years,
Right.
which is normally where we go, and the price tag is usually about 5,000. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to have it either way. It's just that that's the way we've done it.
Okay.
And we do note that we did take that line item for the expense out of the park.
Right, okay.
Fund.
Just as long as we're focused on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Question I have. Oh, the transfer from general fund, you're projecting to go down this year?
I did, yes, but we've pumped that up over the past few years because of the ARPA funds.
Right,
And we've done 250 that was our normal transfer from year to year.
right.
Well, I mean, that's something, again, we can look at. Again, when we get to the general fund, if we want to look at keeping that number in there.
Okay.
Just at a higher rate.
Refresh my memory. Why we transfer 250 to the capital, and then we transfer 75 back to the general fund instead of just doing a net.
Because the auditors
Like it.
Because when we did it, the first time we did it was construction of the
Okay,
reconstruction. Well, that's a capital expense to come out of capital. And it was, Ken asked me that just before the meeting. And I said, all right, we had this conversation.
yeah. Very good.
Let's see. There are a number of public works equipment requests. And again, I think this is being put out there as Doug had said, as a wish list or a Christmas list. Small paver, $125,000, a heavy duty work cart. I guess that's like a Toro cart, $25,000. A 10-ton trailer, $35,000. A snowplow attachment is that for the new front end loader? $25,000. A Ford F-150 and a Ford Ranger truck for $100,000. Of course, as we've normally done, none of those will be purchased outright. They would be done through our lease purchase program and purchased over 5 years. because we're still getting fairly good rates on the interest side of things for that, so.
From the small
But
box
that would be about
trail.
$77,000 per year for the next 5 years for those 6 items.
And the small box paver would allow us to pave our own trailer.
And 8 to 12 footer.
The Ranger, what's the Ford Ranger for?
for the shop. Just
My only question would be, that's not could not be pressed into service even for small plowing, whereas an F-150 would be able to. The price difference between the two of them is not, the Rangers are more expensive than they should be, let's put it this way, for their size. Yeah, I would just look at what's the base rate on an F-150 versus the Rangers. I don't think the price differential is that great that it might be worth getting the bigger vehicle.
we honestly don't need 400 for
Okay,
They thought be, something that be. If we're gonna do the work truck, it's not gonna be a 4-door, this would be kind of a people mover for. If we need it, and also just, kind of a catch-all kind of a vehicle, if we need to go do trash in the parks or whatever, we have something that we can easily use.
okay. I just know the bang for the buck and the size is just not
Understood.
there, so just. I'd be inclined to just go a little bit bigger, and then you have another truck in case it goes down or something as well.
And finally, we have the traffic impact fee fund, which there is nothing projected for expenses out of there this year. We're looking at, and this is a preliminary number. Mike's going to get me some updated numbers for what we expect to receive from traffic impact fees next year. But based on what we've been seeing and where we are this year, and probably what's not coming in, but will roll over into next year, I have budgeted about $500,000 as revenue, which would bring us to 2.1 million in that fund for whatever we get around to. Basically, this is the Route 113 relocation.
Some healthy interest.
Yes, well, the interest, we renegotiated our interest rates, so we've been seeing.
What are we at?
Depends on the account. It will range from anywhere about 3 to 5%.
Okay.
The larger accounts like this one are at 5. And that's it for this section of the budget. We'll be revisiting all of these over the next couple of weeks. We'll have the general fund for you, the mid-month meeting. So if you have any questions, you can let me know in the interim.
So if I can just add something, but part of my proposal request to Joe was, we talked about the cured in place loading on the Yoder Road. And being the $200,000 number. I sat down with my guys and we really looked at it pretty closely and did some crunching some numbers and seeing if it's more cost effective to do it through an equipment rental contract. Or is it something that we could kind of tackle in house? We talked about the value we bring in some of these projects that we tackle that really make a difference. I think this is one of those that it's going to take us a little bit of time. There's going to be any communities that are in. For the project, I think we can, 200,000 versus maybe $50,000 to $75,000 in material costs. I think it's something that's probably going to be well worth our efforts moving forward. So, as part of the revisions to the budget, that's going to be included in it as well.
Great. Thank you for that. Just like the courts, they on money, stating that time.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. We talk about our all the time, our time's not free. So there is, a cost for us being there, and there's also an opportunity for us.
Right.
That, we're not doing other things that maybe we should be. But when you look at a project like this and a significant dollar amount, to do it some other way. And there's some added benefit, with the cured in place, we wouldn't be, doing anything there's asphalt curb along that stretch. We'd be looking at pouring concrete curb, so it would be a more comprehensive project if we were to tackle it ourselves, and I think we can do a fine job at it. I've got the the guys that have the expertise and knowledge and the will to do these things.
And I appreciate that, Paul Press. The question comes down to, do you have the right number of manpower, woman power, team power to do that? Or, if you save enough money on each of these projects doing them in-house, does it make sense to, and again, opportunity costs of what isn't getting done, if there's other things that need to be getting done at the same time? Is your staff the right size, or does it need, I know you're gonna be looking to replace, and there's one other one
Yes.
you need, but is that your right size then to do this?
It's like everything, it depends on the qualification who we get, I mean, if we have the right people in place. At this point, I think we're okay. I mean, looking forward, maybe an additional body. But as of right now, and for a project this size, and like I said, we did Park Avenue, and all the, the reconstruction and the drainage there. That, that project turned out fantastic, and it was something that I'm trying to look at like one of these projects a year that we can really bite our teeth into. And that is, something other than just the routine maintenance and fixing potholes and that kind of stuff. And our roadway networks, really gotten into a position where we're not chasing potholes all the time. We've got a couple problem roads that we're hoping to address the rest of this year. So I think there is an opportunity for us to devote the time and the effort to these kinds of projects, and I think we have the people in place that can do it.
I'm just doing the math. If you save $125,000 on that, you saved, $40,000 on the order for basin. You look at what you do. After a while, one other public works employee is more than, but just to make sure that you have the right number for that, to just keep that in mind
Understood.
to bring it up.
Anything else?
That's it.
Executive session today?
Yes, please.
All right.
Thanks. Staying.